Thank you so much. Thank you so much for wishing me on my birthday, and also for your appreciation of my work, of the teaching the Dharma, and also your appreciation of the possessing the human body, which is a very rare opportunity. So I'm very glad with the observations that you have made. Thank you for the celebration. Thank you for the arrangements. Thank you for the birthday wishes. And as you said, the main purpose of for a Dharma teacher to live long is to serve the sentient beings, and that is also my wish and my commitment too. But for me to live long, I also need my students to live long as well. So for that, I also wish you all a very long life and a healthy life. Because if you are not healthy, if you are not alive, then I cannot teach. If you are not healthy, you cannot practice. So I wish you all a very healthy and long life as well. And thank you very much for all the arrangements and all the dedication and all the appreciation, all the works that you have done so far. Thank you, everyone.
Once again, I and my son wish happy birthday to you, Rinpoche.
Thank you very much.
I and my son have to say goodbye to you.
Yeah, I can't see you. Oh, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And new lunar years coming soon. Wish you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happiness and success on Buddha way.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. So. Sa shi be ge chu xin me do Dharma re ra ling xian yin de gen ba san ge xin do ming de we wa yi zhu gue nam da xin la che ba ra jo yi Dhamma guru ra nam. Oh, I forgot. Sorry. San ye che na zo ye cha nam la chan ju bar do da ne gyab so je da ye che je ye be sen nam ye ro la ben je sa ye tu ba ra sho san ye che na zo ye cha nam la chan ju bar do da ne gyab so je da ye che je ye be sen nam ye ro la ben je sa ye ro ba ra sho San ye che dan zo ye cha nam la chan ju bar do dan ye gyab so je Da ye ju je ye be zhen nam ye zhuo lang ben jue zang ye hu bo zhou sa xi be ye zhou xian me do zhang zhi ra lin xie nian de yan ban sang ye zhen do mi de be hua yin ru gu nam da xin lan jue bo zhou yi da mo gu ru ran men da la gam ne yan da ya mi. Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Rinpoche.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the wish. Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful. All of you have made very beautiful arrangements, and thank you so much.
Have a wonderful year,
Oh,
Rinpoche.
sure. You too. You too as well. Yeah, you as well. Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you for making the time to gather together, all of you. Yeah, everyone.
When H come, H come in.
Say hello.
Hi, Aegis. Hi. How are you? Yeah, yeah. Nice to meet you. Yeah, nice to see you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right.
Then Lee, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Hi,
you.
Rinpoche. My name is Brenda. Happy birthday to Rinpoche.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Happy birthday, Rinpoche.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi.
Happy
Uh-huh.
birthday, Rinpoche.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We're all gathering here in Southern California.
Right. Oh, okay. Okay. There's a huge gathering. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Thank you so much.
So
Thank
we're
you.
gonna see you soon, the end of the month, right, Rinpoche? On February, you're coming over.
Right.
So we're waiting for you, Rinpoche.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
The dog wants to say happy birthday too.
Oh, yeah? Please.
We hear all the dogs barking, so I think they
Uh,
want happy birthday to
all
you
right.
too.
Thank you.
Bye, Rinpoche.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Good night. Yeah. Okay. Isn't it ironical that we just celebrated the birthday and the teaching starts with death? Today's topic is on death. So, as I mentioned last week or the week before, we talk the birthday means you are getting 1 year closer to your death. So we have to make preparation for our final moments, and which we will do so by practicing the Dharma, as that is the only way. As we discussed earlier, in the book that we are reading, you will see a lot of bad news, like a lot of negativities, and that is to be expected. This is like the diagnosis of an illness. And as the book advances through, we will see also the solutions, the treatments to the diagnosis as well. So we talk about the suffering of hell beings, the ghost, and this and that, everything. So these are the diagnoses. So these are all the negative newses, but it is not without treatment, and they can all be treated. They can all be all the negativities can be resolved through proper channels, through proper treatment, through proper technique, which will come as we progress with our book. So rest assured. Oh yeah. So this is the last of the four rivers of what we refer to as the four rivers of suffering. The four great rivers of suffering, as it is called. So like a river that flows without any obstruction, the four sufferings comes without any obstruction. The moment you are in samsara, you are being born, the suffering of birth, and then the suffering of aging, the suffering of sickness, and the suffering of death. So these are certain. So they are known as the four rivers of suffering. And so the death is the last of them. So if you look at our lives, or normally when we look at our life, we look at it from a linear perspective, like from here to there, from A to B, right? That's how we perceive our life. Oh, we come from, I was very small, I'm now this and that, and then I'm going to get older, or I become bigger. So we always look at it from a linear perspective, which is from A to B or A to Z, that way. So if that is the case, then death is the ultimate sort of like end, and after death there's nothing, so no more suffering, so everything's good news. But the thing is, since we are living in samsara, which is as the translation is a cyclic existence, so it's a cycle, so it's not linear from A to Z. It's like it's going round and round and round, like the watch, it's like a dial on the dial face on the watch. So it goes from 1 to 12, and then it goes to 1, and then goes back to 12, and it goes on and on and over, year in and year out. The 12 hours day and 12 hours night, it keeps going on. So similarly, these four rivers of suffering, it does not, even though death is the end of the four suffering, it is not the ultimate end. So after death comes birth, and then comes aging, then comes sickening, then comes death, and then aging, and then birth starts. So it keeps going on and on and on and on. So that's why it's referred to as a vicious cycle, or a cyclic existence, korwa, samsara. So therefore, the idea is to get out of that cyclic existence. It's like running on a treadmill. So so no matter how much you run on a treadmill, you will never get anywhere outside. You have been running for, even if you run for 10 miles on a treadmill, you're not going to get anywhere, any place. So the errand that we are running, the activities that we are engaging, as long as we are in samsara, a large number of activities that we engage in are like running on the treadmill. So of course there are many benefits of running on the treadmill. You burn your calories and you keep yourself in shape and all that, but you're not getting anywhere, So the idea is to get out of get out of that treadmill and maybe run outside, So this is what we are going to try to explore. Oh yeah. Now, as usual, I will go through the book and then, put my thoughts here and there. As death approaches, the suffering of death. As death approaches, you collapse into your bed and no longer have the strength to get up. Even when you see food and drink, you feel no desire for it. Tormented by the sensations of dying, you feel more and more depressed, and all your courage and confidence evaporate. You experience forebodings and hallucinations of what awaits you. Your time has come for the great moving on. Your family and friends gather around you, but there is nothing they can do to delay your departure. You are going through the suffering of death by yourself alone. Nor is there any way for you to take your possessions with you, however limitless they might be. You cannot bring yourself to let go of them. You cannot bring yourself to let go of them, but you know you cannot keep them either. Remorse overtakes you as you remember the negative actions that you have done. And when you think of the sufferings of the lower realms, you are terrified. Death is suddenly here. Dread takes hold of you. The perceptions of life slips away, and slowly you grow colder. When an evildoer dies, he clutches his breast, covering his skin with the marks of his fingernails. Remembering all his evil actions, he is frightened of being reborn in the lower realms. He is filled with regret at not having practiced the Dharma while he had the freedom to do so. So this is actually this context. Peter Rinpoche is talking, putting this in the context of an ordinary Tibetan sort of family. So, like back in those days, you can say pretty much 100% of Tibetans are followers of the Buddha Dharma. So they believe in hell realm and all these things. So they know about the lower realms and law of causality. So if you do bad things, you'll be born in the hell realm. So they are aware of all these things. But when they are alive, we engage in all the negativities, and at the time of death, then all these warnings flash before your eyes, and then you get so scared. So it may be different for people who do not have, who have no belief system, who doesn't believe in any faith. So if you don't believe in the hell realm, if you don't believe in the Dharma, in the Buddha, and all these things, then it's going to be a different story. Of course, it's not going to be all pleasant, but it's not going to be like, okay, since you don't believe in the hell realm or lower realm of anything like that, so if you don't believe in the law of causality, karma, then probably you will not think about, okay, I've done so many this and that bad thing, so then I will be reborn in a negative, in the lower realms. If you have done a lot of immoral things, but not illegal. Or maybe if you have done illegal things and if the government didn't find out about it, then you may feel quite proud that you are able to escape so much of the scrutiny of the law, and morality will not be much of a question. You will think you are a very smart person, that you are able to evade the law and all that. So it will be a different scenario, and then. Of course, there is also, there's a downside to that as well, which we will discuss. But so the the topic, the setting that Pedro Rinpoche is talking about is actually in the context of a Tibetan a Tibetan person who is 100%, like the Tibetan community is at that time is 100% Buddhist, and who believe in the law of causality and believe in the Buddha Dharma and all that, irrespective of whether they practice or whether they follow the teaching or not, they do have a strong belief in the system of a law of causality. So this is what he is referring to. So for such a person, when they have done a lot of negativities, when they are at the time of death, they will be frightened of being born in the lower realms, and they will be filled with regret at not having practiced the Dharma while we had the freedom to do so, as it is the only thing which would have been useful at the moment of death. When he realizes that, he feels tremendous pain. That is why he beats his breast and covers it with the marks of his nails as he dies, it is said. Oh yeah. Now, so it is said, so there's a quote, watch an evil man dying. He is a teacher demonstrating to us the effects of the actions. So action here refers to karma, because karma is translated as action. Karma basically means action. Karma means act. So watch an evil man dying, and he is a teacher demonstrating to us the effect of the actions. So if you look at if you look at Buddha Shakyamuni's, Siddhartha Gautama's life story, before he became the Buddha, Siddhartha, Prince Siddhartha, before he became the Gautama. He, the story of he venturing outside and seeing a person dying, seeing a person sick, seeing someone who is sick, someone who is very old, and what is the other one? Anyway, so the person dying, that the scene of someone dying actually made Siddhartha renounce samsaric life, the princely life, and all that. So this is what it is saying. When you see someone dying, this can. There are two things, right? It can be, so it all depends on your perspective. When you see someone dying, you can, feel, you can lose all your hopes. You can feel miserable and lose all your hope. And, especially when someone close to you is dying, it's a very painful experience. And you feel hopeless, and you feel, really, really, low and all that. That is bound to come. It is inevitable, because you love that person. There is attachment involved, whether you call it love or whether you call it a relationship or whatever. There is attachment involved, and because of that attachment, the closer that person is to you, the more painful it will be for the separation to endure. So there is that scenario is inevitable. It is bound to come. But and you can continue to worry about that. You can continue to keep worrying about, keep brooding over that incident for years and years and years, and just go through the pain. That is one. A lot of people do that. After your wife or husband or son or someone dies, and it's a very painful experience, and it's a very difficult attachment to detach from, to separate from. One thing we can do with the Dharma practice is learn from this practice. So when your loved one dies, or just any person dies, this can be a great teacher. This can be a great lesson. This can be a great lesson that whatever has happened to that person is also going to happen to me as well. It is inevitable. And so therefore I must do something. I must prepare for it. So, normally, many of those if there is going to be an apocalypse, if there is going to be what happened with the when the COVID-19 first came, people were rushing to the supermarket buying dozens of toilet paper and all these things. So when they know it's inevitable, then they try to prepare for it, right? So they just go to the supermarket and stockpiling everything and all this sort of thing. And of course, as serious as the pandemic is, as tragic as it is, it laid victim to a large number of people, actually millions of people, but also 6 million human beings are still alive. So not all of humanity has succumbed to the pandemic, but death, we will be succumbing to death. Even though we don't die from the pandemic, we will die from natural causes, from other things. So death is inevitable. Pandemic, as tragic as it is not inevitable to everyone. So death in general is inevitable. So when it comes to death in general, we don't prepare for it. So it should be a lesson for us to think about. So the main point here is, when someone is dying, it can be something that it can be a distraction for you when someone dies, or it can be a great lesson for you. So it is up to you. And when you actually part with someone you are very close with, someone you love, right? If you did not prepare earlier, at that very moment, it will be extremely difficult. Actually, like you can almost say it's impossible for you to, take a lesson from this incident, because you have never prepared for it. So when the person whom you love very much passes away, separates from you, it'll, even if the person is like an aging old grandparent, it will still be very painful for you to sort of like take the lesson from this. So the thing is, you have to prepare earlier. You have to prepare with small partings. So death from your loved one is actually a parting. It's a practice of it is an experience of parting. You are parting away. You are giving up, or you are parting with something or someone. So you should start with parting, smaller items or smaller things. You should be adapting to. You should learn to adapt. You should learn to adapt separation from the people that you love, gradually and slowly. I'm not saying you should be separating from them. I'm not saying you should stop loving the people that you are close with. You should train yourself to live without them if such an incident occurs inevitably, or maybe tomorrow. So this should be the preparation that you should be doing. We should all be doing that, and that is the lesson that we can learn from the death. Otherwise, death is like it's really a bad news. And then when it comes at your when it knocks at your door, you are not prepared. You are not packed. Your suitcase is empty. You have nothing to carry, and then you have to go for a long journey, and then it's all disaster from here. So even before he is dead, the lower realms start to close in on him. Whatever he perceives becomes menacing. All his sensations cause him to suffer. The elements of his body dissolve. So when death occurs, at the time of death, there is the dissolution of the four elements. The fire element, the earth element dissolving into the water element dissolving into the fire dissolving into the air element, and finally the air dissolving into the center of at the very center of the heart, where there is the what is known as the indestructible indestructible spot at the center of the heart. So we're talking about the dissolution of the body, dissolution of our physicality at the time of death, and the elements of his body dissolve. His breath becomes hoarse, and his limbs go limp. He starts to hallucinate. His eyes roll up, and as he passes beyond his life, death comes to meet him. The apparitions of the intermediate state appear, but he has no protector or refuge. So you pretty much become, the one. And one example of death in the living space, or while you are alive, is actually the sleep. When you fall asleep, your normal physical sort of activities are kind of put on hold. So whatever happens in the dream is actually, you have no control over what happens in your dream. That's why. When we were kids, we think of we think like we are going out to the meadows and urinate in the meadows, and actually we are urinating. You're actually wetting the the bed. So we are hallucinated in our dreams, and we think we are doing something else, while we are, not doing what we think we are doing. And normally we don't have any sort of control over what thoughts occur in our dreams. Of course, before we sleep, we can listen to some positive voices or positive sounds, and that may make our dreams more pleasant, but it's not guaranteed, you know. So it can make our dreams a little bit more positive, but it's not certain as to like what kind of dreams we might have. For example, if I put a cake, if I look at a picture of a cake for maybe 20 minutes before my my bedtime, and then I close my eyes, it's not certain that I will be dreaming about eating a cake. You know, if that is the case, people who dream to go to like the United States, or maybe who dreaming to go to, you know, exotic places, can just look at that place like maybe half an hour, 2 hours before their bedtime, and then they can shut their eyes, and without paying even a single penny, they can just travel to any place they want to go. So the thing is, we have no control. Just like death, just like the intermediate state that comes during death, we have no control over what's going to happen in our dreaming state. Of course, there are training. We can train, just like we can train ourselves during the intermediate state or the at the time of death. We can also train, you know, something called the dream yoga. The thing is, when we sleep, we usually think that, you know, we put the alarm, and we are pretty much sure that we're going to get up tomorrow and have so many plans for tomorrow. And sometimes we are so certain that we're going to get up tomorrow and have to face all the problems of tomorrow that we keep thinking about that problem that is going to come tomorrow, and we end up not having a good night's sleep. We struggle to sleep in our bed. In reality, there is no guarantee at all that we will be able to wake up the next morning. There's no guarantee at all. Nobody can guarantee that. You know, the greatest scientist, the richest person in the world, the most powerful people in the world, nobody can guarantee that you will be able to wake up. If you go to sleep tonight, tomorrow morning you will wake up alive. There is no guarantee. Nobody can guarantee that. But we are so sure when we go to sleep that we're going to get up tomorrow, and we have to face all the problems of today, tomorrow, and then we end up not being able to get a good night's sleep. So maybe if you think that way, maybe you will get a good night's sleep after, you know, if you change your perspective, thinking, okay, I might or might not get up tomorrow. So whatever problems that I'm facing today might not be there tomorrow. So instead of losing my sleep, let me just forget all of that and get a good night's sleep. Anyway, so it reads that the apparitions of the intermediate state appear, but he has no protector or refuge. There is no guarantee at all that our moment to leave this life naked and empty-handed will not come today. When that happens, the only thing that will truly help us is the Dharma. So Dharma, you know, we talk about this a lot. So Dharma means to hold. That is the literal meaning of Dharma is to hold something. So when we talk about Dharma as in the sense of a spiritual practice, it means it will hold us, it will get hold of us so that we do not fall apart. You know, like a broomstick, when the thread is removed, all the broomsticks squander. You know, you cannot sweep with a broomstick that is not broomstick that is not tied together. So you have to, in order to clean your room, you need all the broomsticks to be tied together, and it has to become a broom. You know, a broomstick by itself, by a single strand of a broom, you cannot clean the room. So it has to be put together. Similarly, when your mind is all stranded, so distraction is one thing. Another thing is not just distracted to ordinary things, but distracted towards anger, to animosity, to jealousy, and all these things. When our mind is shattered. The Dharma is to, the practice of Dharma, the Dharma practice is to put together all the shattered, all the fragmented pieces of the mind. Usually we put analogy of the mind, we usually liken the mind with the mirror, right? Mirror. So when the mirror is all broken up, fragmented into pieces, it will not be able to display a good picture, the complete picture. But when it's all put together, when the mirror is complete, then it will also relay a complete picture. So similarly, what Dharma is doing is to put together, to hold all the broken pieces, all the fragmented pieces of your life, of your experiences, of your memories, of your spirit, everything put together in the right places. It is basically fixing the jigsaw puzzle. So what that happens, so I'm reading here. When that happens, the only thing that will truly help us is the Dharma. So now we understand why Dharma helps. Otherwise, if you think of Dharma as some recitation of some mantra, and of course I'm not saying mantra recitation is a bad thing. Like there's no direct correlation between reciting a mantra and it helping you to get to a better place. But if you put everything into a place, like if you think of Dharma as a jigsaw puzzle, and your whole life you are putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, and then at the time of death, you have a good experience of transferring from this life to the next life, because you have completed the jigsaw. If you think it that way, when all the puzzles are put together, held together, the holding, the held, the putting togetherness, that is the Dharma. And when you understand in that perspective, then you will understand somehow that Dharma means completeness. And when you are complete, you're ready to go to the next life. We are ready to go anywhere. When you are complete with your packaging, when you are complete with your preparation, then you are ready to travel anywhere. Whoever calls you, you can just go because you are complete. So Dharma is all about completion. So this is the essence of the Dharma. So when that happens, the only thing that will truly help us is Dharma. So now you will understand why Dharma, is helpful at the time of death. Otherwise, if you think of Dharma as just a mere recitation of a mantra, there is no direct correlation between reciting a mantra and then it helping you to get to a better place in your next life. There's no direct correlation, right? But if you think of Dharma as a completion of your life, if you're complete, then you are done with it. When you are complete, when you are done with your work for the day, you just leave your office, right? There is a sound logic behind that. So when you are done with your life, when you're complete, when your life is complete, you're ready to go. You can happily go. So that's why they say people who practice the Dharma is very happy to pass to the next life, because it's completing one stage, and so they are advancing to the next stage. So they're Yeah. So if you have any questions, I will entertain one question. Otherwise, we can just conclude.
Any questions, Rinpoche?
Okay. No questions. Okay, that's good. Okay. Okay, then let's conclude here for today. Thank you very much. We will do the dedication. Gewa diye nyolo da lama sangye drogyo nen drowa je yama le ba ge ye zala